Story 1. Patience, the ability to self-regulate when you are completely overstimulated, and a strong relationship. Story 2. Knowing how to cook. Not committing to excessively long work hours so that while children are growing up, you have time to bond with them and do not rely solely on babysitters or nannies. Story 3. Financial stability, maturity, and the ability to prioritize others are essential qualities. However, financial stability is the foundation above all else. Do not bring children into the world if you cannot provide for them on your own. This does not refer to a cell phone, a car, or college. It refers to suitable food, clothing, a roof over their head, and a stable environment. Story 4. Learning proper nutrition and good eating habits to pass on to your child is important. Nutrition is essential for critical brain development early on. It is concerning to see so many obese children. Overfeeding your child junk food until they are obese or malnourished is child abuse. I strongly believe this is true. Story 5. Finding the right partner to have children with is important. People are often too quick to have children with anyone and then are surprised when things do not work out. Story 6. Being mentally and emotionally prepared to fully accept your child regardless of sexuality, gender identity, religious affiliation, or lifestyle. Story 7. An honest conversation about how you and your partner want to parent, and seeing a therapist to uncover any childhood trauma. We all have it, so you do not pass it on to your children. Story 8. Before having children, it is important to be emotionally mature, patient, calm, and able to handle stress. A stable relationship or a reliable support system is key, whether that is a partner, family, or close friends. Financial readiness matters. 2. Since raising a child involves ongoing costs like food, clothing, healthcare, and childcare, you also need to have enough time and energy to be present, not just physically but emotionally. Having a safe, stable home environment is essential, along with some basic knowledge of childcare and development. Most of all, you need to be ready to put someone else's needs ahead of your own every single day. Taking care of a child is not easy, so I encourage anyone considering parenthood to seriously reevaluate their priorities, financial stability, and most importantly, their readiness to make real sacrifices, like sleepless nights and comforting a crying baby at 3 in the morning. It is a beautiful journey, but one that demands patience, commitment, and a lot of love. Story 9. Financial stability. Children are expensive. Good mental health. Children are not your therapist. A proper place to live. Do not have children while living with your parents or in a one-bedroom apartment. A strong relationship. Good genetics. Let's be real. No child wants to inherit serious disabilities or diseases. Story 10. My sons, who are twins, are 27 years old. When I married their mother, about 2 years before they were born, we talked about when to have children. Then she decided to stop taking birth control and take the chance without telling me. They were born 10 weeks early. You have to trust the person you want to share children with. I love my sons, but things unfolded in ways I never wanted and was not prepared for. However, you deal with the cards you are dealt. Trust and love are key. Everything else is a challenge that can be overcome together. Story 11. Commitment. Having children is not that difficult. Every animal in the world does it. Having a stable income is important but not a guarantee. Managing your emotions is important as well, but that is a lifelong journey. You will never be fully ready, and it is impossible to know how far you need to go to prevent passing on generational trauma. If you can honestly commit to doing whatever it takes to keep your children healthy and happy, no matter what challenges arise, you are ahead of most parents already. Story 12. Get a handle on addictions. My partner and I both stopped drinking years before having children. We often talk about how much harder this would be if we were hungover or even just drinking a little each night because alcohol is a depressant. It can make sleep less effective and generally make you less emotionally stable, even when drinking casually. Story 13. Financial stability is important, but there will always be a feeling of not enough. I just had a newborn, and yes, it is expensive, but our finances can afford it. Besides that, traveling is a must. Story 14. a steady income, and a sanitary place to live. Good insurance for the baby is common here to sign up for when you are expecting, and then it converts to the baby after birth. Honestly, you need so little when they are brand new. Never let commercial interests convince you that you need all the things they claim you must have as a new parent. Advertisements will sneak into your feed as soon as you start searching for baby items. Apart from what I wrote, income, sanitary place to live, insurance is optional but good to sign before they are too old and you need to make a claim. Baby car seat or carrier if you have a car. Stroller where the baby can lie flat, which can double as a bed for the first months. A couple of sets of clothes. Secondhand is great because babies outgrow them at least monthly. You do not need a changing table unless you have a really bad back. A towel on the bathroom floor will work for a long time and is actually a little safer. You do not need a crib unless you do not have a stroller. It is okay to co-sleep if you have a bed large enough. Pro tip: use rolled-up blankets to create a baby nest instead of buying an expensive product. Story 15. Get over your own childhood. Do not have a child to overcome a difficult childhood. If your parenting style is the opposite of what your parents did, and you only do things with your child that your parents never did, like taking them skiing or other activities, then you are making it all about yourself. A child is not a therapy tool. Story 16. Nothing. It is asinine to entertain the idea because we as a species never would have survived if this were true. No species would. If anything, we are not having children because of this. The problem is that these necessities are not being provided or accounted for at large. People saying that you need a stable career or some sort of high income are deluding themselves. That is not natural. People should be able to have children at any income level. They are the first to claim that the movie Idiocracy is real despite the implications that make it impossible, but then they say that certain people should not reproduce like many other horrible entities. I firmly believe that reducing teen pregnancy was a noble idea but was misguided. It should not have been about reducing pregnancy as such but about reducing or eliminating the cost of a teen pregnancy. We do not care if some 30-year-old woman gets pregnant and is in the same situation because we can blame them, but children are not so easy to blame. In reality, we should have a lot in place that does not condemn a woman for having children at a younger age if it happens. To be clear, the problem with teen pregnancy is that the women were teens, the men half the time were not. Reducing that is fine. Story 17. Fixing your own problems. Understanding the difficult extent of having children. Nobody talks about the real, difficult, and depressing parts of having kids. I think more people should choose not to have children. There are many inadequate parents in the world and more children than there is proper care for. Story 18. Incredible self-awareness, the belief that all humans are inherently valuable, and that your child is especially worth the best you can bring. The ability to calmly problem-solve, an attitude of collaboration and respect, the desire to grow and adapt, the ability to self-regulate even in the most extreme circumstances, the willingness to do whatever it takes to feed, clothe, and love that child no matter what, the willingness to protect yourself and your child from harm, patience, and an open mind. Story 19. Financial security, emotional awareness, patience, and a lot of time are essential. In the world we live in, no one can have all the things necessary for raising children, so people should reconsider having children. Story 20. A budget that will account for childcare, whether that means daycare, a nanny, an au pair, or a parent staying at home or reducing work hours to part-time, as well as an emergency fund with 3 to 6 months of the budget saved in the bank. If you can live on your new budget and have emergency money saved, you should be good to go, at least financially. Story 21. House, stable income, savings, vehicle, insurance, and of course a good relationship with my spouse. This is at least how it will go for me. Story 22. A custody agreement in case of divorce. All kidding aside, parenting classes are important. I was way too strict with my son and spanked him. Now, I would never do that again. Even though he's a great kid, I should have just ignored his behavior. In later years, I had him write me a 100-word essay outlining what he did wrong, what he would do next time, and what he thought the punishment should be. Story 23. If you can babysit a friend or family member's children, try different ages. Babies and toddlers are challenging, but older children are completely different. Dirty diapers are easy compared to a teenager trying to figure out their life. I know many mothers who only wanted a baby, just a baby. Story 24. Wanting to be a parent is very common, but many people choose to have children without wanting to actually raise them. It is important to be open-minded. You need to be open to who your child will grow up to be instead of having a specific idea and then being upset when your child does not perfectly fit that mold. Story 25. There are some great answers here from experienced people. It is nice to see that. I had to check to see if I was still on Reddit. Story 26. I'm finally at the age where I have the necessary patience, maturity, and stability to have children. It's a shame that my children are now 30 and 27. Story 27. A good relationship between the couple and enough time to determine if the father will be present and actively involved in raising the child, rather than avoiding his responsibilities. Financial stability. Thorough conversations about expectations during pregnancy and after birth. Many men feel entitled to have the woman work until giving birth, manage everything, and then immediately become a domestic servant upon delivering a child. Additionally, discussions about rules, how children will be raised, morals, and goals. The wisdom to understand that it will be very challenging, with significant stress and work, requiring sacrifice of both money and free time from both parents. Story 28. Patience, maturity, and selflessness. Skills like learning to cook, changing diapers, and sleep training can be learned as you go, but the kind of person you are can hold you back if you are not ready. Story 29. Stable relationship is the core basis for building a family because you can have all the money and resources in the world, yet your child could still be neglected emotionally and physically. Story 30. Having people who can help is important. I am not talking about your partner. Someone outside the household who can take your child when you both need your own space to catch up with yourselves. Someone you have no concerns about your child being with and who can be available for long periods, such as a full 24 hours. Parents, in-laws, a friend, a trusted sitter, or others. Have a plan for who your child will go to when you need rest. Story 31. Knowing yourself and doing the things you want to do, such as studying, traveling, and living abroad, before you have children. Story 32. Being completely certain you want to take on the mental, emotional, physical, financial, societal, and time sacrifices required to raise a healthy human being is important. The right time can look different for each person, but understanding and accepting the sacrifices involved in creating a whole human is essential. Many people rush into having a baby for various reasons without fully considering the long-term commitment it entails. Story 33. Parents should be mentally healthy. Many people have children before addressing their own trauma, which they then pass on and project onto their children during upbringing. Story 34. Travel and partying. Enjoying time with your friends. Living a life before it is tethered down with additional beautiful responsibilities. Story 35. Discuss with your partner their ideas about how to raise children. Discipline, schooling, parenting style, and more. Too often, we find out too late that these differ between the parents. Story 36. A stable relationship with your partner, if you have one. Patience, emotional maturity, and the ability to accept your child as they are. Financial stability and enough money to properly provide for a child. Story 37. 1. Emotional maturity and availability. 2. Patience. 3. Financial stability. Yes, you need to be able to afford to feed yourself and your child or children. Starting a rainy day savings account is also a good idea so you have money for activities and meals out sometimes. 4. The ability to put another person's needs before your own. 5. The capacity to support your child for the rest of your life. 6. The ability to separate yourself from your child. It is easy to see your child as an extension of yourself when they are very young and fully dependent on you. However, your child will eventually develop their own personality, opinions, hobbies, and interests, which may not align with yours. Story 38. I have to say, monetary responsibility and emotional maturity are important. You can be poor and still have children or pets, but you need to prioritize them first. We were poor but had a roof over our heads, my sister and I were fed, we had clothes and even toys. There is no shame in shopping secondhand. Luckily, us kids were running around outside all day, so we had no need for phones or anything else. It was the late 1990s and early 2000s. Times have changed. The biggest factor is emotional maturity. My parents were not emotionally mature. My mom was distant while my dad was suffocating. My dad's blatant favoritism toward me hurt my sister. And when my mom passed away, the message she left for me was full of anger. Because she did not know me, did not see how dad's behavior affected us, and did not understand what actually happened. She did not ask me, and I did not know she wanted answers. It was heartbreaking to read her note, and I will never get to talk to her about it. Prioritize your children. Do not assign them the responsibility of regulating your emotions. Just be better. Story 39. Work through your own emotional baggage and unaddressed mental health issues. Everything else can be learned as you go. Children will trigger your own unmet childhood needs. Do not let your business become their business. Story 40. Having the ability to apologize and apologize well is important. You are going to make mistakes as a parent sometimes because you are human, but making amends goes a long way in strengthening the bond and minimizing the hurt. Story 41. A spouse or partner and a job. Babies need two adults at a minimum. It does not have to be a man and a woman. Any two adults will do. The two adults need jobs. You do not need to buy everything the baby industry tries to make you feel you need, but you will need diapers and you will need to do a lot of laundry. It only gets more expensive from there. Story 42. Financial and situational security, including your own place, money saved, and easily covering all your current expenses. A career that will be flexible with you taking parental leave and days off. A healthy and stable relationship unless pursuing single parenthood by choice. Emotional maturity and physical well-being. Story 43. Having a job that pays you enough to take proper care of them is important. If you cannot support yourself, you cannot afford a child. Story 44. Having grown up as an army child, I would say a relatively stable place to live that does not change every year or two would be a good start. Story 45. Enter parenthood with the understanding that it is a lifelong commitment, not just 18 years before leaving them to face challenges alone. Story 46. Home. General location of home. Proper nutrition. Selflessness. The desire to have children. Earplugs. Consider doctors, schools, and healthcare providers. Living close to these can be a significant advantage. Transportation. A plan for when you are not able to watch them, such as sitters or daycare. Story 47. Stability, emotional maturity, and the desire to be a parent. If partnered, both need to be on the same level and in agreement. Story 48. Actually understanding the hard work, risk, self-sacrifice, and bodily changes that will happen. Too many parents just accept it and end up completely unprepared. Story 49. Mental health, a house, a car, and a job that pays enough to support a human life. Partner is optional but beneficial. Story 50. Live on your own or with your partner and enjoy it for a good solid 5 years at least, because you will miss the simplicity of just going home to relax. Story 51. Be an antinatalist. Always prioritize adoption. Recognize that minors of all ages need adoption. Ensure you have the means and competence to take good care of them. Do not be ready to reject them once they reach the age of consent in your jurisdiction, often 18. Story 52. I would say legally requiring at least one of the parents to have at least a bachelor's degree. Of course, then there is the problem of enforcement. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.